title of this one is called Knock Knock and the Door Shall Be Open. It's a line from an old gospel song, a black gospel group called the Swan Silvertones. They were mostly an a cappella group. And back in the late 50s, early 60s, we all listened to this group. If you have never listened to them, they're on YouTube. In fact, when I used to travel with and hang around with, I was traveling with a great instrumentalist called Perry Letterman. And there were three of us traveling. The other one was a young Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan and myself and Perry Letterman, and we'd hitchhike together. And we all would know about, and even if I were to know Dylan today, which I don't anymore, we would just talk about Swan Silvertones being some of the most beautiful stuff in the world. Anyway, that's what I'm writing about now. So knock, knock, and the door shall be opened. And that's kind of a true statement that you have to knock. If we have the strength and the confidence, the most expedient way to realize the Dharma is to feel around within ourselves for the hardest, the most uncomfortable truth for us to accept about ourselves, whatever has eaten our lunch, so to speak, and double down on that. However, this may also be the most painful route. Yet in the long run, it's the least painful, the most efficient way to grow in a sense of Dharma. I joke to myself that this path is one of going to meet your maker rather than waiting for life to drag you to it. And when I say go to meet your maker or double down, I don't mean to bear down on what confronts us, to try harder. That's not going to do it. But rather to relax and accommodate what is tough to accept. Acceptance is an active passivity that reminds me of the old saying in the Christian Bible, this came to pass, or that came to pass. Nothing comes to stay, but all things come to pass, and they do pass. This is especially true of panic and anxiety. By the time it overcomes us, it's already too late to escape from it. Anxiety and panic are viscous sort of things. They have texture, like a heavy fog. If you can just relax and keep slowly moving forward, one foot in front of the other, you can move right through them with some visibility. However, the fear that often accompanies anxiety and panic can be a hard, very solid seeming experience. We can kind of freeze or seize up if we don't relax and let the fog of panic just naturally vaporize and thin out. So anyway, the steps involved are to recognize that you're anxious and that you're sliding into panic mode. Just relax and let that fear part subside, let it pass. Then accommodate and work with the sense of panic rather than freeze up and seize up. Move through it and accept what makes you anxious, carefully placing, as I mentioned, one foot in front of the other. Just as in a fog, if we move slowly and safely, we can often just see well enough to get through it. These little knots of fear and panic in life are mostly our own reactions clutching up. It's our own stuff. Relax and get used to them. Make friends with them and become familiar with them. And it doesn't help to attempt to escape or deny them. Given a little time, they will unwind themselves and open out if we allow ourselves to calm down. We can learn to live in these anxious situations just as we do in any other situation. So I find, get to know your manufactured fear or knee-jerk reactions, and don't fight them and they'll dissolve. I'm not talking about situations of actual danger, like the fear we might have getting out of the way of a speeding car, but rather those self-induced reactions that we have that result from our own judgments, our own polarization, our confrontations, and especially our prejudice, and so on. We can't always control the situations that we find ourselves in or subjected to. Yet we can, with practice, learn to work with our own knee-jerk reactions, and we can learn to respond more appropriately rather than seize up and just react with panic. Untying the knots in our mind, one by one, as they arise in life, beats reacting to them and being bound in fear and panic. And also it accumulates very much less, if any, karma.